I'm Dave Fiore, the founder and CEO of Fiore Communications, and this is a special update episode of How I Got Here. At the end of each episode, I ask every guest the same question. Where do you think here will be for you in 3 to 5 years? Well, it's been 5 years, so I thought this would be a perfect time to check in and see how things are going. Today, I am pleased to have How I Got Here guest number 12, Elizabeth Emmanuel. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hello.
Thanks for being here. Can you believe it's been 5 years since we recorded last time?
I can't. I don't know if it feels like it's just been yesterday or 35 years in between.
But it doesn't seem like 5.
It does not.
All right. Well, I'm going to play back your answer from 2019 to where you thought you might be now. Okay, so we'll listen and then we can talk about it.
I mean, I ask myself every day, how did I get here? I feel very lucky to be where I'm at. And I hope, that the role that I'm in right now is one that I'm in for a substantial amount of time. But I hope to look around and see some of those things. The exciting thing is that 3 to 5 years, that is our community's bicentennial. So we get to all reimagine together what our community looks like and work towards those goals that everyone wants to see happen in Tallahassee. I hope we're all much more confident about where we've come from as a community, and we can name 5 historical facts and 5 influential people and 5 celebrities that came from Tallahassee, and hopefully we'll all be, celebrating with them how far we've come as a community. But I think it's a really exciting thing to look ahead at where we could all be, because I've never really thought that I got here alone. I think I've had a great group of support helping push me through. So I imagine those people will still be there, and we'll be building a better community together.
Right. And you'll probably have a 3 to 5 year old along for the ride.
That is the hope, yes. We don't want only children, so hopefully there's, a growing family. Maybe we'll get a 2-bedroom condo at that point.
Now you're talking crazy. All right. What are your first thoughts after listening to that?
Well, I actually have a 3 and a 5-year-old.
There you go. That is just perfect on brand.
Yes. And instead of a 2-bedroom condo, we've got a 2-story home. So
a little more space.
Tight in the pandemic, working from home with a newborn that my mother would come in to care for while my husband worked on the balcony from home. It was needed to gain a little bit more space.
Right. Okay, so as you think about what you just heard, what do you feel about that? What do you think? What pops into your head?
She was delightful. She was a lovely girl.
She was.
It was nice to hear from her.
You don't remember that person?
No. We've come such a long way. I think she had an incredible amount of energy and optimism, and she's changed.
Okay, well, just to refresh, at the time you were at the Downtown Improvement Authority, and the bicentennial was a huge deal coming up for your world at that time.
Yes, absolutely. Right? It was a very exciting opportunity.
Yeah.
And we got to hold seats at the table every step of the way, which was, an interesting way to spend a number of years. And at the end of it, I stepped away from my job, but I got to celebrate Tallahassee in a number of very meaningful ways throughout those years, because the beneficial part of it was it was an opportunity to bring the community together throughout a several-year process to celebrate Tallahassee. And I think it ended with T-Pain singing "All I Do Is Win" while fireworks went off in Cascades Park. And if there had to be, a more appropriate way to celebrate, I couldn't think of it. I thought that was absolutely incredible.
Can you name 5 interesting historical facts? Isn't that what you said you'd hoped everybody could do?
Yes. And so I think, if I look back on the projects that I got to accomplish while I was there, I feel pretty confident that we got to alert the community. In some ways, it didn't work out, which was really difficult. Some of the things that we worked towards, but every step of the way, it was essentially an awareness campaign and an opportunity to teach people about the history of our community. I learned a lot myself. We got to put up large-scale, meaningful murals that told stories, whether it was the Seminole tribe of Florida that we got to bring in, or highlighting 3 famous Floridian women on a wall that had previously said drugs for years. We really got to change the landscape.
Yeah.
And that hopefully brought about a deeper understanding of our community's history, for better or worse, and more meaningful ways to provide an inclusive storytelling opportunity.
Right. Awesome. All right. You mentioned that you are not the same person you were 5 years ago, and you have changed jobs. So bring us up to date on what's going on with you now.
So I made the decision a year ago, well, a little bit more, to step away. I am very self-aware, and I recognized the opportunity that I had been given, and it was incredible, but I wanted to ensure that I had ample time to give to my family and the capacity, and that I was giving my job and the amazing businesses that I got to work with and my amazing team the best of myself. And I felt like it was really the highest that the organization had been in my tenure, and I wanted to be able to bring someone else in to finish out the bicentennial, to be able to carry on what we had scaled to, and that I could give that time back to my family and back to another organization. And so actually it was funny. I didn't have a plan when I stepped away. I knew I needed a break. I knew that I needed to take care of some health issues that had arisen, and I had a few offers that were really great and very interesting, and over time one of them really stood out, and I was in the car listening to How I Got Here with Alex Miller, with the Florida Trucking Association, and she had an amazing story, and I just thought, trucking is not something that had been as much professionally a part of what I had done. It was very similar business development, workforce development. I had never gotten the opportunity to advocate for truckers before as much. But after listening to her story and hearing the kind of person that she was and reading what the organization had been able to accomplish in terms of tort reform and really working to protect people and businesses, I thought, absolutely. I called my husband after I listened to the episode and said, I'm going to take the job with the FTA because Alex Miller is incredible and this is what I want to be a part of.
What have you learned most about yourself?
I have learned how much I enjoy home life. I have made a big shift in my priorities, and, every parent is like, well, of course, but you don't see that before having children, of the way that they are going to grab a hold of your heart and your mind and your body in ways that you could never imagine. And everything about who you are and how you live your life will change. And they have certainly changed me for the better. Every day they challenge me. Every day they surprise me. Every day they delight me. It's been such an incredible roller coaster. And it's fun, but it's definitely very different. I've set aside a lot of the work that I was doing in the community to focus on my children. And I have been so grateful to have that opportunity to be able to make them my world and to ensure that I am raising, kind humans. It's been really fun.
That's awesome. All right. So do you want to take a guess at where 5 years from now might be for you, or what it might look like?
I feel like I had to eat my words so much in what I said last time about where I would be and how long I would be there and what the world would look like around us. And that I can't begin to imagine, even from the size of my house.
Which was a big issue at the time. Elizabeth, thank you for giving us an update today and sharing your ongoing journey with us. It is always great to see you. To our listeners, if you have not already, I encourage you to listen to Elizabeth's original episode. It will put some context to this conversation and add some additional insight into her journey. I also encourage you to listen to Florida Trucking Association President and CEO Alex Miller's episode. You can listen right here or at tallypodcast.com. Thanks for supporting this podcast and connecting with your community. We'll see you next time.